Hello everybody. What I have here is a box, and as far as boxes go, this one contains content. Obviously some of you might be recognizing the brand here because DNM isn't precisely unknown. However, for most of you it's going to be a secret. However, considering the theme of the channel, I am almost certain that most of you are now anxiously waiting to see what's inside of this box, and so am I, so let's not waste any more time. As I'm recording this video, I still haven't seen what's inside of this box. However, if you've been following the channel, you know that I have been teasing the insides of this particular yellow rectangular item before, but I still don't know what I was teasing because I still haven't opened the box. I'm repeating myself, I should stop. Anyhow, what's inside is a DNM, a USD-6 upside down fork for my Enduro bike, because I've been teasing that I'm going to replace my Durolax at some point, and I have finally reached the breaking point, even though I've been shopping around for a fork for quite some time, and unfortunately my brilliant skills of being a merchandiser, no, not a merchandiser, a merchant, actual merchant, were pretty poor, so I wasn't able to secure myself a nice pair of Fox 36. Apparently I've been haggling incorrectly, so I've gotten this thing instead. You know, Fox, DNM, 3 letters, pretty much the same thing, isn't it? Alright, let's see how can we crack this one open. Now, if you don't know, DNM is a company that has existed for at least 20 years, or at least that's how long I know of their existence. Although I gathered it might have been that the brand simply switched places and it's a third entity under this name. Because if you don't know, the current Suntour, which produces forks, it has nothing to do with Suntour that was producing drivetrains years ago. It's just the rights to the brand have been transferred. Anyhow, they've been around for a long while. They mostly are active in the ATV market, so the all-terrain vehicles, essentially quads and motorcycles and something like that. But they do have a bicycle division. However, here in the West, can I say this in the West? I don't live in the West. Anyhow, over here there was a brief period of popularity, especially of the DNM burner shock, but generally speaking their products are virtually unknown. So I have to do this like this. Alright. I'm probably breaking the box. Not that it matters. Okay. We're almost there. I'm doing an unboxing, essentially. Not essentially, actually. Which makes me a trend slut. But you know, everything for the views. Filler. Even more filler. I think it's time to simply gently apply. Although using my brain is also an option, so violence not necessary. How do I get into the content? Here we are. 160 millimeters of travel, compression, rebound, air shock, and if I so choose and manage to secure, oops, sorry about that. If I so choose and secure a proper hub, I should be able to run 2 disc brakes on this puppy. So, this is a DNM, what was it? USD-6 suspension upside down fork 15mm axle, not my selected choice or my preferred choice. I prefer this to be 20mm. This means I'm going to be needing to modify a hub on my bike, but that's not really much of an issue. 160mm of travel. The stanchions are black, even though on the listings on AliExpress they are white. There are some sturdy plastic covers here and here. Tapered steerer, kinda short unfortunately. It's probably 220. Let's see. 245. Okay, that's going to suffice. Here we have a compression adjustment. Since it's just compression, so it's most likely a slow compression. Here we have a rebound adjustment. This is a screw, so this is our airport. And let's weigh it. Although it's kind of heavy, so I'm guessing it's about 3 kilograms. 209,017 grams. Kinda lordy boy, truly being honest with you. But doesn't bother me, I am a big boy as well, so not really important all that in the grand scheme of things. And now that you have seen everything, you can gawk at this. Let's disassemble this puppy. So here we are. Let's, well, engage with the process of disassembly of the thing, and let's see what's inside. It's an air fork, obviously. Let's take this cap. This is the compression damper. You can turn it down all the way into practically locking the fork, which I guess is a good thing if you're into that kind of degeneracy. Now the question is, do I have a socket wrench this big? Because it doesn't look like a 27. It's usually used on Santor forks. I really hope it's auto-focusing. This is a very big wrench. Let's see the size of this. That's a 33 millimeters. Yep, 33 millimeters, and I don't think I have a socket this size. 26, nope. So an adjustable will have to do, which obviously means that this is absolutely disgusting. Don't be me if you have this fork, however, I'm doing this for science. Or maybe I shouldn't. Intermission. I need to get a 33mm socket wrench. So this video gets postponed to tomorrow. Alright, so this is my socket, and obviously I can't use it yet because nothing's ever easy. This is our fork, and the thing doesn't really fit here. As you can see, there is a little bit too much material on the circumference of this thing, and even if it did fit in that particular way, I couldn't be able to use it anyway, because all of this now focus, all of this industrial socket wrenches of this particular caliber are meant for a massive screw which would go all the way in, not this really shallow cap on a fork. So in order to increase the engagement, you need to do something like I did on this particular 27mm socket, which was modified in order to service Santur forks, which are some apparently I have 3 million of. Anyhow, I need to flatten this this camphor here, and I need to remove some material from the outside, and then I will be able to undo the fork. Alright, I'm back. Unfortunately, my massive socket turned out to be too hard to machine. Who would have thought? So unfortunately I'm not going to be using it. However, I made myself this little nifty tool, so I guess we can continue with the disassembly. Now, we left off with these two caps being gone. And for the sake of keeping everything in frame, I have loosened the top caps already, and I am honestly curious what's going to be inside. Turns out I'm going to have some usage out of it after all. Alright, this is the air chamber. As you can see, this is a cartridge. So let's disassemble this from the other side, but first let's check whether there's any oil. Nope, no lubrication whatsoever. Let's undo the bottom bolt here, and let's see. It's going to be a bigger one. Let's see what's inside. Oh, come on. Turns out that... Okay, I think it goes. Alright, this is the air spring. As you can see, this is a sealed cartridge. No possibility to adjust anything about this fork. Well, kind of a bummer really. I hoped I'm going to be able to tinker with it. And unfortunately there is no lubrication there. And this is the bottom out bumper. Alright, so any guesses what's going to be on the other side? I'm guessing it's going to be a cartridge like this one. And I'm even more certain of this because while this could have been something inside of the fork leg, it's almost certain that on this side is going to be a sealed cartridge of some sort. But I am willing to be wrong on this subject. Come on. You're not that deep. You are that deep. As you can see, this is a cartridge as well. Let's see if it's serviceable or not, and what sort of a grab screw I'm going to be dealing here with. smaller than 2 millimeters. Well, apparently it's smaller than 2 millimeters, so it must be 1.5. And I've got just a thing. So, is it going to be something even smaller than this? Or this can be a Torx. I need to check it. No, it is a 2 millimeters or 1.5, or even smaller. It's 1 millimeter, and I don't think I have such a tiny Allen key. I need to dig deeper into my parts. So I didn't find a proper tool in my toolbox, so I've made something that resembles this teeny tiny Allen, and apparently it even works. So we're going to free our dumping cartridge in a second. Honestly, they could have used a bigger screw here. It's not like there's a shortage of material. There we go. And what are we going to find here? Let me guess, that's going to be a 13 millimeter. Nope. Or maybe this is 19, 13. No, yes, 13 millimeters. So let's. Maybe I should use a socket for this. So 13 millimeter socket on the bottom, and this is the dumping cartridge, and it turns out it's serviceable. So this is promising, because if I can service this, then I can always try to make one of these on my own and thus prolong the life of the fork. No, I'm not going to be trying to force this one out. No, it's permanently mounted to the rest of the cap is mounted to this cartridge thingy. Alright, let's take the lowers out. And unfortunately I will have to check this, but that does, or maybe there are. It's difficult to assess, but I'm wondering whether there are oil seals here, because if there are, then I can always pour a little bit of oil into the uppers and use that oil to lubricate this. However, if there are no oil seals here, then I can always shed some light over here. It appears there's a scoop. The lower one is a scooping seal, so theoretically I think this is an oil seal. So I will be able to pour some lubrication to the uppers and use the gravity to lubricate the seals, and thus get the perfect, or the optimal lubrication of the seals and very smooth fork action. And unfortunately, I'm going to show some light here. I know that this is visible, it should be, but it might be not. There is nothing, no keying or anything here, so this is what I'm talking about. If in your dropper post the stanchion obviously is only one, so in order to stop it from rotating, there are these channels manufactured or machined into the side of the stanchion, and there's a key there. There's a single piece of a wire, really hard, and this stops the stanchion from rotating. Usually there are 3 such keys in each stanchion or each side. Now, if you remember the upside down fork from X-Fusion a few years ago, I think it was called... No, Metric. Metric is the big one. I don't remember. However, the main feature there that was, in order to address the inherent flexing issues of the upside down fork, they added those keys which hold the stanchion together and disallow them from rotating, because this fork, as it works, as it deforms, is going to work like this, and the wheel is going to dance around a little bit, because that's what these forks do. It's essentially their, well, the main feature, main problem with these forks, however you may want to call this. Anyhow, let's take the lowers out, and this is going to be everything we need to know about this fork, because there's literally nothing more about this. I'm not going to be disassembling the damping unit, because there is no need to do it, and I don't even know what sort of oil I'm supposed to pour inside and how much, and I don't want to experiment, because this thing has been lying around in the workshop long enough. I want to mount it to a bike, and there's still one extra thing I'll need to do. However, if I were crazy, I would use this excess material here and take off this tab, and I would convert this to a 20mm through axle, because that's what I have on the front of my bike. However, as you can imagine, I'm not going to be doing this because I am not that crazy. I am moderately crazy, just not utterly and completely insane. However, I am going to be modifying the hub, not buying a new one. Let's take off the shroud here. The cover, the protective cover, the leg protection, the thingy made of plastic in order to kill whales faster. Oh, there's one more here. So there are 3 screws that hold everything together. So 3 screws mount as a leg cover. This is the leg. Seems to be pretty well made. I honestly don't know how to judge this, other than the fact that it's in a trendy black color, and obviously black is... oh, red is faster. Sorry, it's not faster than anything else. Although on AliExpress this was in this olive color, so obviously, how do they say, your mileage may vary. Now, and these are the uppers. There seem to be scooping seals, so I'll be able to pour some oil inside. These are the lowers. You can mount 2 bicycle brakes or 2 disc brakes if you have proper hub. This is the other leg. They are symmetrical. I'm kinda... well, I can't say that I like the fact that this isn't 20mm, but you know, you can't have everything, even though there is material to convert this fork to 20mm. There are covers here. This is the damping unit. It is a compression and rebound adjustment, so everything you really need. The damping unit is fully capable of being fully disassembled, because there's a screw here, so whenever servicing comes you can just take it out, unscrew this, do whatever, screw it back together and inside to the fork. The air spring unfortunately is not serviceable. This is a sealed cartridge. You can see there are stamping markings here, so there's other on the other side as well. So we're not going to be getting that out of there. It's kind of a bummer really. Although let's be honest, I am almost certain this is not going to fail like ever. And if it does, I'm going to be old and decrepit and I wouldn't care anyway. So let's put it together and I'm going to cycle it through with some oil inside and see what happens. As you can imagine, because these things aren't cast as a single part, you need to aim the axle to fit on the other side, and it's kind of annoying really. But what can you do? Such is the nature of the beast. I think I'm going to do it in a different manner. You see, it has been machined in order to fit, but once the tolerances for everything come into play, removing the axle is kind of an issue. Not happy about this, although I like the pinch bolts here, so win some, lose some, and in the end you're going to be left with nothing anyway. That was a deep philosophical thought for the day. Also, as you're watching this spectacle of me trying to put it together, you might as well subscribe to the channel and make me a little happier person, because well, nope, that's not gonna work either. I think now I've got it. Or maybe I don't. Or maybe I do. Please. No. It comes together so hard, most likely because it's not really straight. It's crooked, which is why inserting the axle is such a chore. So I'm going to assemble this without it The issue is that this isn't obviously perfectly straight. The tolerances are what they are. This is a $250 fork, plus whatever taxes you'll be able to be forced to pay for it. And thusly, as you can imagine, it's not going to be Fox precise, although I heard that Fox isn't precisely stellar in that regard. Wait, I was supposed to pour some oil there. First we're going to attach the lowers, so everything is nicely sealed from the bottom. We don't want to have any oil leaking down. And once everything is nicely screwed and mounted, I'm going to pour some oil here. Not much, 10 or 20 cc's, minuscule amount. It's not really necessary, it's just lubrication. There's no dumping, so there's no need to make it into a Marzocchi fork from the yester many years ago. Okay, now I can pour some oil, which I have conveniently stashed here because I'm so smart. Actually, I'm too lazy to find something better than this. I probably should. Write in the comments if I should use some better oil instead of a random mixture of motor oil found in the workshop and used to lubricate stuff. And I mean stuff. I lubricate pretty much everything with this because I know no shame, and using proper chemistry is hard when you're at my age and so senile. Now you will see the sad spectacle of trying to fit the axle into the fork, because it truly is kind of sad. Maybe I should use some of this oil I have here. Should make this a little easier. Oh, there you go. No, it doesn't work. I honestly hope I'm never going to be forced to take out the axle in the field, because obviously violence solves every problem, because obviously using this mounting method in the field is going to be annoying. I think I'll just shave some material off this of this axle and be done with it, because this is annoying. Alright, there are no signs of oil everywhere or anywhere. Let's allow it to seep down. We'll see. Now, this is the knob for adjusting. Oh, by the way, rebound, compression, air pressure, nothing in particular. Just so you know. There are nice clicks on the rebound adjustment. This is pretty fun. Okay. And cap and everything else. And there you go. The initial impression is great, but not necessarily... Oh, for the price it's great. It's not really perfect because of this axle issue. The cartridge with for the air side is a little bit trouble, or a little bit worrisome, but in all honesty it's not that bad. Overall, the initial impression is very good. We'll see how it performs. However, first I need to modify the hub on my bike, so this video will continue shortly. So as you can see, this is the problem I'm trying to solve. The issue is that while this fork, theoretically the chassis, is compatible with 20mm axle, because there are 110mm between the dropouts, but there's this material here, and if I were a braver man I would probably try to modify the fork and not the wheel, because the 20mm axle is a bit stiffer. However, I'm not that brave, so I'm going to try to modify the hub. The plan is that I'm going to disassemble the hub, take approximately 7.5mm off the axle from both sides, and then make an insert with 50mm reduction that's going to make it compatible with 15 by 100mm axle. And there you go. This is the fork attached to a bike. It's a little bit awkward bike, as you can see, because that's an XL frame on 26-inch wheels, but you know, 26 ain't that. My initial impression of the machine is kind of positive, really, and the fork doesn't really stand out of the ordinary of all the forks I ever had. Although you gotta admit that it takes a little bit of engineering and being bold in order to, well, release an air fork that weighs as much as a coil dual crown. But nonetheless, the initial impression is really good. And no, I'm not going to align the valves and set the proper gear in order to make a bike check, because I'm too lazy and I hope not too vain, or not vain enough to do it. Anyhow, this is the preview. Once there's going to be a review, I'm going to be reviewing how this actually operates in the field, because so far I did just a few 2 or 3 kilometer rides. Nothing that can, well, judge the quality of this thing. So I'm going to end this video now, because the only thing I can say now is an awkward subscribe to the channel, and you know what to do. I don't want to sound pretentious. So see you in the next video.